happening, guys? Boxing Lowdown, and I'm back here with another video. Now, let's talk about Canelo. Fresh off his knockout victory over Sergey Kovalev, stopping him in the 11th round with a beautiful one-punch knockout. What's next for him? What is next for Canelo Alvarez? Now, this guy has just the most options available to him right now in boxing. And for as long as I can remember, going back to Floyd Mayweather days, Canelo Alvarez is the cash cow in boxing right now. He's the money man. You know, everything centers around him. He is literally competing in like up to 3 or 4 weight divisions right now. He can fluctuate between anything right now. He picked up a WBO light heavyweight title by knocking out Sergey Kovalev. I believe he's vacated the WBA regular super middleweight title that he won against Rocky Fielding. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that came out yesterday. But even so, he's competed at that weight. He's competed at middleweight, where he's still got titles down there. And he definitely won't be able to go back down to light middleweight or 155, whatever his catch weight was. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's next for him. But what would you like to see next for Canelo Alvarez? Like I said, there are loads of options out there available to him. And when you look at some of the names, it's a who's who of fighters. So look at light heavyweight, for example. If he chooses to stay up there and defend the WBO light heavyweight title, then the obvious answer, the most difficult fight, probably out of everybody right now, is against Artur Beterbiev, who looked very good knocking out Alexander Vostok not too long ago and unifying the titles at that division. He will obviously be the main threat for Canelo at that weight. He's just a huge guy. Artur Beterbiev can punch very hard. He's it's all around solid fighter. Would Canelo take that sort of risk against Artur Beterbiev, who is not that much well known outside of the hardcore boxing circles? Going to be interesting, but there's always his name floating about. I doubt he'll fight him next, but his name is there. I'm sure he'll fight him. Same with Dimitri Bivol. Like, maybe those two will fight each other, Beterbiev and Bivol, but those guys are up there. I heard that Anthony Yarde's name was mentioned as a potential opponent for Canelo. You know what? I could actually see that happening as well. I could see if Tunde and Yarde were to take it, I could see Canelo going for that fight. Go through to super middleweight, you've got Callum Smith there. You've got Billy Joe Saunders, who apparently is a strong name in the running for Canelo Alvarez next year. Apparently the two teams have held talks about it. Very easy fight to make, considering that Billy Joe Saunders now fights on DAZN under Eddie Hearn as well as Matchroom Boxing. So that fight could be made. Going back to middleweight, he could have a third fight with Triple G. He could take on Jamal Charlo if Jamal Charlo wins his upcoming fight next week. There's loads of guys out there that Canelo can fight. Demetrius Andrade, he could fight him. I doubt he'd want to fight him, but that is there for him. Like I said, there are many options floating about between light heavyweight and middleweight right now for him. So my question to you guys is, who would you like to see Canelo fight next? I said in a previous video that I think it would be dangerous for Canelo to, drop back down 2 weight divisions to middleweight. I'm not saying that he couldn't do it, but it would be dangerous considering, the muscle mass that he's put on. He was a solid light heavyweight against Sergey Kovalev. He looked huge at that weight, and, he carried the weight well. I mean, he didn't really look slow or plodding. He still carried the power in his punches. So, I think he can do it. Like, I'm not saying that you can't drop back down weight divisions, but we've seen examples in the past where fighters have put on muscle mass and jumped up 2 weight divisions and then dropped back down, and it hasn't worked out for them. I mean, look at the great Roy Jones Jr. He put up muscle mass and jumped up 2 weight divisions from light heavyweight all the way to heavy to defeat John Ruiz and pick up a title in similar circumstances, actually. He picked a guy that was, not the best heavyweight champion at the time, but, he picked him and he picked up a title, whereas you could say the same for Canelo. He picked Kovalev. Kovalev wasn't the strongest of the light heavyweight champions out there, but he was the biggest name, and he took him and he defeated him. So would Canelo be making the same sort of mistake by putting on that sort of muscle mass and then dropping back down to middleweight? Time will tell with regards to what he'll do, but I mean, Canelo has got so much power in the sport. He could impose a catch weight, he could have some rehydration clause, whatever he needs to do, and he'll get backed by, the powers that be in boxing. That's just how it is nowadays. So Billy Joe Saunders seems realistic. I think that could happen next year. I think that out of all the fights that we're being told, is probably the one that I can see happening the most. But if he stays at light heavyweight, then Anthony Yarde is a name that has been thrown out there. As unreal as it sounds, I mean, we could see Canelo and Yarde next year. Like, who knows? I'm sure that, Frank Warren, Tunde Ajayi and Anthony Yarde would take it. They would go for that money. So, I'm sure they would, but that is an option. And like I said, there are loads of options out there for Canelo. Callum Smith, he's another one. he's probably looking more likely to fight somebody like Billy Joe next year. So if Canelo don't fight Billy Joe, then it'll be Callum Smith. Callum Smith could fight Canelo as well. That is an option out there. Loads of guys, man. Triple G, he showed his age a little bit against Sergey Devyachenko last time out. 37 years old now. I'd make Canelo pretty strong favourite over Triple G at this point. I'm not saying that Triple G has lost a lot, but I do think that Canelo has adjusted to that fight now. And I mean, he won the second one, and I think that the third one it'd be even more of a conclusive victory for him. So there is that out there as well. But a lot of names, a lot of people out there being mentioned, as always in the Canelo sweepstakes. Who would you like to see Canelo fight next? Let me know in the comment section below, guys. I would like to see personally Canelo fight Billy Joe Saunders next. Like, I would like to see that. If Billy Joe Saunders can't fight Callum Smith, then let's see him against Canelo, because I'd like to see how Canelo would do against like a mover and slickster like Billy Joe Saunders. If he's on top of his game, he has the style to pose problems, but that don't mean that he'll beat Canelo, but he may give him something to think about. Jamal Charlo, if he looks good in his next fight, I mean, he's been rumoured to fight Chris Eubank Jr., but if that don't materialise, maybe he could fight Canelo in Texas, you know, in a big fight down there. So I'm up for seeing those kind of fights, man. I'm up for seeing Canelo take on those sort of challenges. But the most intriguing and the most difficult fight for him would be Beterbiev, no doubt about it. That would be one where many would probably pick Beterbiev to win. But there will be some people out there that pick Canelo as well. So let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below, guys. Who would you like to see Canelo fight next? I'll catch you on the next one.